Welcome to the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. You can catch us Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on FS1. Here's what this podcast is all about. It's an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the day's show, and there is a lot to get into in today's podcast. Shannon makes the claim that if Tom Brady did not play this year, the Patriots would still be in the AFC Championship game. Skip has a harsh critique for Zaza Pachulia, saying he turned a nice play into a really insufferable play with his cheap shot on Russell Westbrook. The guys debate if the odds makers in the desert have it right in favoring the Falcons over a red-hot Aaron Rodgers. FS1 NFL analyst Chris Carter tells you why the Antonio Brown haircut incident will have an impact on my Steelers this Sunday, and this is evidence of his lack of leadership. FS1 basketball analyst Jim Jackson shares the mindset of an NBA player when they match up with their former team to explain the emotions Kevin Durant felt last night. Any celebrations today, guys?
You done celebrating your birthday? I mean, you started last week, like 2 weeks ago, and
it's all month long. It's my gift to the world, my birthday.
I just want to know if you're done celebrating my Cowboys' demise. That's what I want to know.
Skip,
have you had enough of it? Because I had a dream last night that Mason Crosby missed the last field goal. And I woke up and ran in here and just gloated on you. But then I woke up and...
Yeah.
When you hurt, I hurt.
Like
you think I want to see you hurt?
Yes, I do.
A little bit.
Yeah.
At least you're being honest today.
When it comes to the Cowboys, I want much pain as you can possibly endure.
No mercy. The other flashpoint from last night, in the second quarter last night, Zaza Pachulia was issued a flagrant one foul after colliding with Russell Westbrook. Pachulia appeared to swipe Westbrook's face and stand over him for a few seconds. After the game, both players talked about the incident. Let's take a listen.
He hit me kind of hard, but sorry, I'm going to get his ass back. Straight up. No, I didn't see that just now, but I don't play that game. I'm going to get his ass back. So whenever that is, I don't know when it's going to be, but I don't play that game.
I'm not thinking about this kind of comments, you know. They're not, that team is not there, so they might be thinking about other stuff, like getting him back. So, you know, okay, you can get him back.
Straight up.
Hey,
Straight up.
I will get it back.
Yeah.
I believe in it. I believe in retribution.
You do.
I absolutely.
Yeah, it scares me, actually. I'm having to lock my dressing room now.
We're going to go in there and steal all his dude.
No. Just one time.
Skip, whose side are you on here? Westbrook or Pachulia?
I was almost on Zaza's side because he turned what I thought was a really nice play into a dirty play and then like an insufferable play in that he jumped the pick, came off the pick, and actually got hands on ball to start with and completely disrupted Russell. But then he has to swipe on through with his hand and just rake his hand across Russ's face. Russ did oversell it a little bit. I'm not saying he completely flopped, but he was selling it pretty hard when he went to the floor.
That's what LeBron did. But you said LeBron flopped.
No, that was a flat-out flop. That was a soccer flop.
Two things can be true, Skip. It could be a flagrant foul, and he could have sold it a little bit.
Okay, so whatever. But Russ sold it a little bit. But then Zaza had to pump up his chest a little bit and stand over him and just stop it. You're not that guy. You can't stand over Russell Westbrook at this point in Russ's career. You have not earned the right to do that. So he lost me there. And fortunately for him, Russ did not see it at that moment. His teammates told him about it in the locker room. I'm guessing he looked at the video before the media came in and then we saw his reaction.
Right.
I'm still trying to figure out how a 6'3" guy is going to get even with a 6'11", 270 guy. But maybe, knowing Russ, he can jump out of the gym. Maybe he's going to go knee to face on one of his drives. I don't know. Maybe he could pull that off, right?
Skip, I don't get the Warriors because now all of a sudden, a team that's so fluid in their ball movement, all of a sudden, they're like the Memphis Grizzlies. They want to grind you out.
But you think they're trying to be tough guys?
Of course.
Or are they being fake tough guys?
Fake. Now, if this was Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason in the mid-'90s, Xavier McDaniel, Rick Mahorn, Lambeer, this is who they are. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's fake tough because you can't retaliate because back in those days, if they were to do what Mason and Oakley and them were doing, you're going for 30, 45 games.
Yep.
You might be going for the entire year.
You might be. I agree.
But now, all of a sudden, Zaza Pachulia, now he going to be tough. Oh, you know, I'm not worried about those guys. You know, maybe they worried about getting me. But yeah, I'm going to get your ass back, too. Now, I'm going to swing. You better be careful because I might.
Straight up.
Yes, I might swing on you because it was unnecessary. Okay, you jumped the pick and roll. You made a great play.
It was a good play, yeah.
But you didn't have to hit the guy in the face.
Nope.
And you didn't have to stand over him. But you know what I want to see? I want to see him try that with Zebo. Try that with Boogie Cousins. That's all I want. If he do that with Boogie Cousins or Zebo, Zach Randolph, then he have my ultimate respect.
Yep.
But he hit the man.
I'm about ready to throw Joel Embiid in that conversation. I want to see that happen, right?
It kills me because the Golden State Warriors are known for their offense. They're fluid, their ball movement. Everybody, the open guy's going to get the ball. He's going to get a shot. But now they want to be this grimy, grinded out team. You don't come in the paint. You come in the paint, we're going to put you on your back. Stop.
They do have one tough guy, legit tough guy. Draymond's a tough guy to me. You're not going to mess with him. LeBron doesn't want to mess with Draymond.
Man, he don't want to see Bron.
See,
you know what?
Vice versa.
See, y'all think Bron is a good guy because, he got this image to uphold. And Bron's like, I'm a family man. I got a wife. I got 3 kids. But Bron said, don't test me now. Bron said, I can be put your cup down, Joy Taylor.
I like that. Joy was so dismissive. She just took a drink during what you were saying because LeBron tried to convince us he's a football player.
Football.
As in soccer. It's their football is
American
soccer, right?
football, Skip.
No. International football is soccer, and that's what he is. LeBron's a soccer player.
Look, Draymond's going to be Draymond. Draymond will foul you hard. Draymond will do some things. I mean, Draymond from Saginaw, Michigan, and, the SAG nasty, and, they pretend to be tough. But everybody's from somewhere, Skip. Don't let that fool you just because you from the SAG nasty. People from SAG nasty get done up.
He's also a Flintstone. You know the Flintstones, huh?
Man, look at first of all, like I said, I know Oakley. I know Oakley personal. Oakley is for real on the court and off the court.
Completely agree.
That ain't no fake. What you saw with Charles Oakley, what you saw with Mason and Xavier McDaniel, that is who they were.
Yep.
This is stuff that this is the new NBA. And so you can pretend to be tough because guys can't retaliate.
Yep.
Back in the 90s, Skip, if Zaza would have done that to say he had done that to the Knicks point guard, or they had done, man, Zaza would have been, no way he'd make it out the game.
I got Draymond in a street fight against LeBron. I got him.
First of all, Skip, LeBron got a wife. He got 3 kids. He's trying to set an example. He has a brand.
I got it. Yeah.
Hey, and even when he called Bron the nasty name, Bron was just trying to get his attention. Say, bro, you don't have to call me that. Don't make me lump you up. Bron like, hey.
Make me get you suspended.
No, hater.
That's what happened.
All he was saying is like, look, give me my respect. I've earned that, Draymond, but since you want to be nasty about it, the next 2 games, I'm going to put 41 up on you.
While you're not there, yeah.
He was just game 6.
Russell's not a fake tough guy either.
No, Russell.
No, heck no.
If Zaza does that to Zebo, Zach Randolph, or Boogie Cousins, then he going to have my ultimate respect.
Although the toughest guy in the NBA to me still is Udonis Haslem. You don't want to.
That's your man, right?
You don't want no one. No one.
I'm going with Zebo or Boogie. Who you got? Who you got? I got Zebo or Boogie.
Think about that. Kawhi Leonard's up there.
Oh, stop. Good. You need to stop, Skip.
No mercy. Let's get started in the NFL. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers will meet in the Super Bowl if both quarterbacks win their conference championship games on Sunday. Brady had 28 touchdown passes and only 2 interceptions for New England this year. Rodgers led the league in touchdown passes this year and hasn't lost since mid-November. Shannon, who's more valuable to his team, Brady or Rodgers?
Is this a trick question?
You
punking me.
You know what? I agree with that. It's a trick question because it's obviously Tom Brady. I mean, how can you even put the 2 in the same sentence, right?
You need to stop, Skip.
Huh?
You need to stop. Because so much, we've seen when Tom Brady goes out, we saw him miss an entire season. Well, he started the first game, Matt Castle comes in, and they finished 11. Well, they finished 10-6.
Missed the playoffs, but that's okay.
I'm just saying.
Tom Brady's magic.
We saw at the beginning of the season, the first 4 games, they go 3-1. So with that being said, they're 12-4. If so much of what the Green Bay Packers do is off of this, it's off script. The Patriots are successful because there's not a whole lot of ad-libbing. You call the play, you run the play. Tom Brady throws the ball, he stays in that one area, 10 yards wide, 9 yards deep. It was called the pocket. That's where he makes the majority of his plays. Aaron Rodgers is off script, I would believe, 75-80% of the time. Because when you're back there doing this right here, Skip, they don't call that. They don't say go back, drop back, and we want you to pat the ball for 7-8 seconds, and then you find somebody to get open.
Yep.
And that's what makes it so difficult. You and I both know this, Skip. Even if Tom Brady is not there this year, they're still in the AFC Championship game. Green Bay Packers is a top 5 pick if Aaron Rodgers is not the quarterback. That's the reason why they're 3-5-1 when Aaron doesn't play. Skip, you know this. And this is not to minimize Tom Brady. He's a Mount Rushmore quarterback as we speak. But if you're talking about which guy is more important to their football team, because we've seen him out. We saw them go 3-1 without Tom Brady. We've seen them go 11-5 without Tom Brady. They're not winning any games in Green Bay without Aaron Rodgers because everything that he does is so much more than just calling the plays. We're going to talk about it later, the 3rd and 20 play. Only he can make that play. Only he can diagram that play. So, Skip, this is not even close to me. It's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is more valuable to the Packers than Tom Brady is to the Patriots.
I might have missed this because you were going so quickly with your weak argument, but the point is that did you just say somewhere in mid-soliloquy that the Patriots would be in the AFC Championship game with Jimmy Garoppolo at court? You said that?
Absolutely.
That is the most laughable statement you have ever made in the history of this show.
Who's going to beat him? Who would beat him?
Name some. Houston would have won.
No, they wouldn't have.
Osweiler. Yeah, that's who would have beaten them.
With Jacoby Brissett, they beat the Houston Texans 27-0.
This isn't even close the other way. And you know deep in your heart that I am right about this because the harder you look at what Tom Brady is doing with these New England Patriots, he's doing a lot of it with mirrors, and he is not getting enough credit for doing it with mirrors, with a receiving core that is not even as good as Aaron Rodgers' receiving core. He is doing far more with less than Aaron Rodgers is doing in Green Bay. And let us start with the fact that Rob Gronkowski was lost on November the 27th. And you still think Garoppolo or Jacoby Brissett would have gotten them to the AFC Championship game without Gronkowski?
Yep.
I voiced at that moment, the next day, sitting right here, I wasn't sure that Martellus Bennett was made of the right stuff to rise and shine and become that guy to take up much of the slack left by Rob Gronkowski. And he has come up smaller and smaller, has Martellus. No offense to him. I enjoy him. He entertains me. He amuses me. He's not that guy. He's definitely not Jared Cook to Aaron Rodgers because I look at what's happened just since Gronkowski is gone. Do you realize that Martellus has averaged 4 targets a game, 2 catches a game. This is over 6 games. 4 targets, 2 catches for an average of 28 yards a game. Against Houston, he had 1 catch for 4 yards. He got nicked. Something happened. He missed a few plays. I'll give him that. But he did come back and finish the game. And he had 1 catch for 4 yards in the wake of Rob Gronkowski in a home playoff game. That's all you need to know about what Tom Brady is doing because he's doing it mostly with Julian Edelman or bust. Really, it's come down to, and this is starting to scare me. This is my Super Bowl pick to win it all. Mine's still standing, yours not so much. But that's a whole nother issue.
I got the Steelers.
Yeah. You got the Steelers. You got whoever you want.
Now?
Oh, you're back on the Steelers bandwagon.
We'll see.
Okay,
we'll find out tomorrow.
Okay, well, that's fine. Whatever. But I had New England in August, and I'm sticking with them. But I will be honest with you. I am starting to weaken on my faith in the Patriots because there's just not much left here. Because you realize Chris Hogan had a couple of big catches the other night. Then he got hurt. I'm not even sure he's going to be able to play.
He got nicked, yep.
Amendola's been nicked all year, and I'm not sure what he's doing. Malcolm Mitchell has been nicked with a knee, and they said he tried to practice. So I don't even know that he's going to be available. I look at the receiving core. Michael Floyd came up small the other night, a ball that he should have at least somehow controlled, and it skimmed off his fingers and went into a defensive back's hands for an interception. Tom Brady doesn't play that game, and Michael Floyd wound up with 1 catch in that game for 9 yards, so he didn't exactly emerge as their Julio Jones. So I'm looking at the receiver core, and it's down to a former college quarterback or bust. And you say on script, off script. Really, the script is no script. They're all option routes. So you have to have enough rapport. I know, but it's what they do. But it's a scripted, unscripted play in that Brady has to anticipate, is Edelman going to go left or right? You know, it's pretty much that's it.
Well, he's seeing what Julian's seeing.
Yeah.
If the guy's overplaying him, he's going to option away from him.
They do have rare chemistry, rare rapport, rare wavelength. I give you that. But it's coming down to Brady to Amendola or bust. That's all you got. And this is the favorite.
What about Lewis and White?
Okay, so Dion Lewis had a nice game. He mostly impacted the game with a touchdown kickoff return, okay? But then I look at what he contributed. He caught 2 balls for 23 yards. He ran 13 times for 41 yards. That's not exactly taking the game over. It helps. He's a little bit of a spark plug, but seriously, that's it? That's all you got?
He's the first guy in NFL history to return a kick, score on a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown.
I know, but when you look at the total yards, it's not enough. It's not like he dominated the football game.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. We've seen the Patriots without Tom Brady calling the plays, and they still win.
Okay.
You know and I know the Green Bay Packers are not winning a game or not winning very many games without Aaron Rodgers, because so much of what he does is that you can't call it. You call a play, but he goes off script and make things happen.
Does Tom Brady have Devontae Adams? No, he does not. Does he have Randall Cobb? No, he does not. I don't even think he has a Ty Montgomery who's a dual threat. He can gash you running the football, but he can also run routes. He drew the penalty flag on little Anthony Brown, that was a big play in the game that wiped out the interception. And again, he's a weapon that I don't see that Tom Brady has. He doesn't really have any weapons.
White and Lewis, they're weapons. They use them in different ways, though, Skip. Okay. And the thing is the reason why we give Tom Brady so much credit, because he's really never had, for any extended period of time, that true number 1 receiver. He hadn't Randy Moss for 2-3 years, and those were some of his best years. But we grade him on a curve because he doesn't have a Julio. He doesn't have an Antonio Brown. He doesn't have an Odell Beckham Jr. So that's why we give him so much credit, because he's doing things with receivers that they're not household names. But Jimmy Garoppolo still made things work with those same receivers that are not household names. We saw Matt Castle make things work with those same receivers that weren't household names.
I think those teams took New England a little too lightly, especially Arizona in the opener at Arizona.
Look, look, the thing is that you like about the Patriots is that they play with the standard. Whether they play in preseason, regular season, playoff, or the Super Bowl, they don't play up or down the competition. So why you underestimated them, that's your own fault. But with that being said, we've seen the Patriots win games without Tom Brady being the quarterback and look very, very good.
Who has the best pass blocking line in football, according to Chris Carter, who will join us in a few minutes on this show? The Green Bay Packers.
Well, you told me it was the Cowboys. You told me the Cowboys had the best line in football.
I said best line, but that includes a lot of run blocking, and sometimes the pass blocking can be a little hit and miss. But Chris Carter, he really knows football. He's actually in the Hall of Fame. So are you, but he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And he's actually a receiver in the Hall of Fame. And he says, not that you aren't a receiver, but you're a tight end. He's a diva receiver, right?
Yeah, he's diva.
And you got to go with the diva receivers.
Oh, now all of a sudden you're going to believe what they say.
He's got the insight and the perception. And he said the other day, I'm just quoting him, best pass blocking line in pro football belongs to Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
And then we look at the two defenses. And I will grant you that New England's wound up number 1 in scoring defense. But I look at who are they really? They had 2 Pro Bowlers. Dante Hightower, is he a game changer? Is he a transcendent player? No. Devin McCourty also made the Pro Bowl. Is he a dominator? Is he somebody that you game plan for and you're fearful of?
How many Pro Bowlers on defense did the Green Bay Packers have?
They had 1. They had
Ha-Ha
Clinton Dix, and Clay Matthews would have been, but he's been banged up all year, right? But he's a perennial Pro Bowl player.
I don't know what he would have been. Malcolm Butler is a perennial Pro Bowler.
Well, he didn't make it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what I'm
he's
saying...
He's not perennial because he just emerged off one play 2 years ago.
Yeah,
so,
and he played well.
Okay, so don't call him perennial. But
Skip, the thing is that when you look at the Patriots, they have a system in place led by the guy at the top, Coach Belichick, and everything else falls into play. So it doesn't matter who comes or goes. They've changed offensive coordinators. They've changed running backs. They've changed receivers. They've changed O-linemen. But they don't miss a beat. Green Bay Packers, you take Aaron Rodgers. If you take Aaron Rodgers out of there, they're picking in the top 5. If I believe, And I bet you if you ask a lot of general managers, if Tom Brady was not the quarterback for the New England Patriots this year, I bet you more than half would have said they would end up in the AFC Championship game.
They would not? In the AFC Championship game? Are you kidding me?
Who's going to think about it, Skip? Who? Over who? Who's going? The Broncos?
Yeah, just name somebody. If Derek Carr hadn't got hurt, then Derek Carr would be Jimmy Garoppolo in a playoff game. I'm sorry, he just outgunned.
I don't believe they would have done that in New England. But that's what I'm just going to show you. We can't say Derek Carr did get hurt. So knowing what we know now, if Jimmy Garoppolo is the quarterback for the New England Patriots and everything is status quo, they're in the AFC Championship.
They would have unraveled down the stretch. They would not have been the number 1 seed. I'm not even dead sure they would have made the playoffs with Jimmy Garoppolo in his first year of starting. Not sure about that, but if they had, they would be a lower seed and they would have to go win on the road someplace.
Hold on, Skip. So you want to sit there and tell me that a Bill Belichick team would have unraveled?
With the quarterback, yeah, I do. With a guy thrown into the fire like that, I absolutely do.
You saw the man.
They're not talented enough. Now, again, Gronk's going to get hurt. You said we have to go with what happened, right?
Yes.
If he didn't have a security blanket in Gronk and he's just throwing it to Edelman, yes.
For the most part, Gronk was hurt the big part of the year. Remember, he tweaked his hamstring, and he was out for the better part anyway.
More power to Tom Brady. 28 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Unheard of.
But Gronk Gronk changes the dynamic for any quarterback because he's the one guy you have no answer to. He's too big for corners. He's too fast and physical for safeties. Linebackers, you don't really want that matchup because he's too fast. So he's the one player that they've never had that no one has an answer to. Mm-hmm. And when he and Edelman's on the field, you got to pick and choose. Okay, where are we going to rotate? Where are we going to send our coverage to? But with that being said, Aaron Rodgers, when they call a play, a lot of the stuff that they call, it only works because of Aaron, because you said the great pass protection. So if someone else is in there, they can't do that.
1001, 1002, 1003. Oh, Devontae got open. Oh, Randall Cobb got open. Oh, wait a second. Jared Cook got open again. And by the way, he has had Jordy all year, and I think he'll have Jordy again this Sunday.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. Even though those guys are getting open, it's not like they're wide open. He's throwing balls into a bucket 30 yards away. Mm-hmm. You saw him against the Giants. All those throws, there was no one wide open. There were DBs draped all over the receivers. This is not even close as far as who's more important. And that's not to knock Tom Brady, because Tom Brady, like I said, is a Mount Rushmore quarterback as we speak.
Okay, here's what you won't have an answer for.
What?
The biggest intangible. No quarterback is more beloved in his locker room than Tom Brady is in his locker room. Aaron Rodgers has been on and off not beloved in his locker room, according to Greg Jennings, who's been on this show. Greg obviously played with him, won a Super Bowl with him. That Aaron's difficult. He can alienate you pretty quickly.
He's arrogant.
He will take no blame
aloof,
for anything.
He's
take
condescending.
No blame.
He's dismissive.
Yep.
But he's a bad.
Okay. I got that. But in the end, championships are won with unity and togetherness. As cliched as that sounds, it's the ultimate right cliche for the sport of football. At this time of year, teams pull together and get on rolls because they're close-knit and they are all for one and one for all. And they are all for Tom Brady in that locker room. And I know he alienates people, the outsiders, because he does Uggs commercials. Like, how can you do that? That's not what football players do. But in that locker room, and I've talked to many former and current Patriots about this, they love Tom Brady. They will die for Tom Brady because they know he would die for them. He's not arrogant. He's not aloof. He's not above them. He is with them. He hangs with the offensive linemen. So that's what differentiates. That you can't underestimate the power of that value of Tom Brady in his own locker room, where you can overestimate the power of Aaron Rodgers in his locker room, because it teeters. It can unravel quickly under fire in a playoff game.
If Aaron Rodgers wasn't as great as he is, if they didn't win as much as they did, maybe that would tear this team apart. But when you win, you'll overlook his arrogance. You'll overlook his dismissiveness, his condescending, because he's all those things, Skip. but he's still the baddest quarterback in
Okay,
football.
and the baddest quarterback was 8-6 in the playoffs going into last week's game at Dallas, and he was 4-5 in the playoffs since that Super Bowl run. So it has unraveled before. And you say, well, it came down to the last play. These guys, Tom Brady's guys, often make the last play, and it's because of the closeness of the football team. That's what it is.
What did it have to do with Seattle throwing that play on the 1 yard line? Was it because they were close?
I don't know. They made the play. Seattle did make the play.
Oh, so
It was the right call, but it was just a great play. A great defensive play trumped, I thought, a good call on offense. It was the right call. Marshawn Lynch, 5 times from the 1 yard line in the regular season, had been stopped 4 times. Percentages would scream to you, throw it. Again, did you pick the wrong route to throw? But you throw it, and Malcolm Butler jumped the route because he was better prepared than most cornerbacks are.
I'm glad you said they made the play, because on 3rd and 20, Aaron Rodgers made the play. And on 2 field goals, a 56-yarder and a 51-yarder, Mason Crosby made the play.
2 sorry-looking field goals
Stop
I've ever witnessed.
There's no such thing.
Yeah, hand of God made the first. He hooks it left to the upright, and it somehow comes back in. I've never seen that in all my years covering any kind of football. The hand of God pushed the field goal back in, and I guess it was God saying to Jerry Jones, I'm out. I'm out. I'm done with
There's no such thing as an ugly win, Skip.
You know, that was ugly.
Skip.
Ugly
Think about this. You hear all these polls. Trump, they said President-elect Trump is entering office with the worst approval rating for a president in 100 years. But think about what they said. He has the worst approval rating as a what? President.
Okay. And your point is?
It doesn't matter how ugly it looks.
Oh, okay.
All I know is that I'm sitting over here happy.
You are.
And you over there dreaming, talking about, I woke up and I couldn't believe it.
One of those 2 field goals should have hit the crossbar or the upright. It should have.
I can't believe you doing that, Skip.
In any other world except that one on Sunday, it hits the crossbar, it hits the upright, and we're still playing, and Dak Prescott makes one more play than Aaron Rodgers. Well, you know it, and I know it. There was just some reason it wasn't meant to be.
Any other DB, he doesn't catch that ball because Russell Wilson has some mustard on it.
He did.
And for a receiver and for a DB to jump the route. And not only he made the play, because it could have easily been incomplete. A defensive lineman could have got his hands up, knocked the ball down. There are a lot of things that could have happened.
Yeah, if it's incomplete, we're having a different conversation right now. And probably.
If one of those field goals hit the upright, we're having a different conversation.
We are.
Well, I guess Shannon isn't done gloating about the Cowboys' loss yet.
I'm not gloating, Skip. It hurts me.
It's all right. You have your one little moment. It's your one shining moment on the show. You needed one.
You've been treating Hazel real bad since.
I have not.
Yeah.
She's been my salvation. She saved me from jumping off my balcony.
Oh, yeah. I love how you come around to her. No mercy. We're joined by Chris Carter. Chris, welcome.
Welcome.
Morning.
How are you?
Chris, the Falcons are a 4.5-point favorites against Green Bay. Does that surprise you?
I'm not surprised. When the number came out, I thought, the home team automatically gets 3 points. As far as Vegas getting the line, they feel home field advantage. NFL's
unless it's
3.
Jacksonville or San Francisco.
Normal NFL team, the normal teams. The home field game get 3 points. I believe Atlanta is a better football team, even though we know what Aaron Rodgers has done. So Vegas has said that. Vegas has been right more than wrong. I think that the line is also based on the lack of weapons they're going to believe Aaron Rodgers is going to have.
Yes.
Jordy Nelson, if he does play, he's going to be banged up. And there's a couple injuries that wide receivers have that are more significant than other injuries. Anytime you have something to do with your ribs, because it's hard to run because the pounding on you is so painful. So I don't think Jordy Nelson's going to play. But Devontae Adams is even more important because he has an ankle injury. Mm-hmm. He hurt it late in the Dallas game. I believe it will affect him on Sunday. And anytime there is and Shannon, you'll know this, there's a lower extremity, hip, knee, ankle, for a skilled guy, it affects their play. And you can't get away from people. You can't get off the bump and run, and you can't push down the field. So the speed for which you play at is compromised. So I think that has some indication why the point spread is what it is in Atlanta being a 4-point favorite at home. This is also the last game in the Georgia Dome. There is no college football So people talk about, Atlanta, their fans are not consistent, but for big games and big events, they show up. Just like they did last week where Seattle struggled in the Dome. I expect that to be so the combination of injuries, playing the last game in the Dome, I believe Matty Ice finishes off his MVP season in spectacular fashion. That's why Vegas line is what it is.
Yeah, but when you look at it, I think if this was a neutral field game, it would probably be a pick-em game. Especially Atlanta lost to Kansas City at home. They lost to San Diego at home. They lost to Tampa Bay at home. Mm-hmm. But as you mentioned, CC, when you factor in Devontae Adams' ankle, Geronimo Allison's hamstring, Jordy Nelson's ribs, Lang was limited in practice.
I don't know if Geronimo hurt. You the only one, you and his family only one call out his name. You trying to say he got a hamstring injury. I think he's healthy, but go ahead.
Well, Aaron calls his name out occasionally for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, he got pushed down too far inside. And so that's what, when you look at it, knowing what the Green Bay Packers represent, and I think Vegas factors this in, is like, hold on. This was a one-point game earlier in the year, 33-32. I was really surprised that it went to 4. I thought it would be like a 1-2-point ball game, considering that Atlanta, I mean, yeah, we could talk about Atlanta all we want to, but their defense is like 26. Now, Green Bay's like 28, but...
And the injuries.
Yes. But I think their defense, I'm just 4.5 is a lot of points, especially in a game of this magnitude. And although I believe Matt Ryan will win the MVP, I tried to get Skip to bet. He would want to bet, talking about I had inside information.
You looked too confident.
I didn't have no insider information.
Yes, you did.
Skip, would I lie to you?
No, yes, you would.
Skip, I told you I would lie for you. I wouldn't lie to you.
Yeah, you ain't stopped lying.
On this show, to win a bet, you would lie to me.
Okay,
yes.
maybe a little bit. But I think 4.5 is a bit much. I thought it would be something around 2. This is a 38-35 ball game. This is a 42-40 type ball game. This is going to be whatever the total is going to be, is going over the total. But I was surprised at 4.5. That's a lot of points because they gave Dallas had 5, and Dallas was the best team from. I'm sorry to bring that up, but they gave Dallas 5 points. Dallas was the best team from start to finish.
Not only did the wide receiver get hurt, but Burnett, the safety, got hurt. So this is not the Dallas game. This is plus a game.
Yeah.
That's why the injuries begin to compile themselves. That's why I believe the number is 4.5.
And Julio Jones has a turf toe that I think is pretty serious.
It is.
I'm not saying he's not going to go, but you talk about lower extremities. That's the one that can shut you down.
Yeah, my brother had one of those. He ended up having it operated on at the end of the season, but he would never practice. He'd just shoot the toe up.
And that's what Julio's doing now. He's only going through walkthrough, a lot like his schedule was last week's game that he didn't make it through. So that is a great point as far as Julio. But some of his productivity can be replaced. And if Julio's on the field, they're going to be leaning coverage that way.
Mm-hmm. I was shocked by the spread, in part because you have pounded me across the table with the fact that Aaron Rodgers is historically, transcendentally, specially great. That this man is invincible at this point now that he's won 8 straight games. And of course, we all know he guaranteed he was going to run the table. And the 8 ball's still on the table, right? Mm-hmm. That's that Super Bowl ball. So there's one more,
2 more,
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's Aaron bleeping Rodgers. I don't care if it's in Atlanta. I don't care if it's in Pittsburgh. I don't know where it doesn't matter where it is. It's Aaron bleeping Rodgers. He just shot my Cowboys right in the heart. He shot me in the heart. I got to give him that with a pretty easy play, but he pulled it off. It was a pretty simple play.
He said the play was easy.
Little pitch and catch, but it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I do a little watching before I come on here, yes.
Yeah.
Lucky, I heard.
Yeah. So he still has Jared Cook. And he still has, I know Devontae's, he'll play. He'll be okay. He looked okay to me at the end of the game, but whatever. And he's got Randall Cobb, and he's got Ty Montgomery. He's got some weapons. He's got more, I told him, he's got more weapons than Tom Brady has at this point in the season. So to me, if he's that special guy, this is a pick-em, man. This is 50-50. And again, that game was 33-32, and Aaron had the ball at the end of the game, but Randall didn't break his route off right. You got to go over there.
That was Devontae.
No, I thought it was Randall. Was it Devontae? I think it was. Okay. You got to get over there. But it was still 33-32, and that's when the Packers were the wheels were starting to wobble, and they lost 4 straight, and then he made his declaration, I guarantee you, that's what he said, right? I guarantee.
I think we can
Oh,
run
he
the
said, I
table.
think. Well, yeah, but you told me it was guaranteed, and the legend has grown to the point that it's now it's a
Stop
Joe
it,
Namath
Skip.
Super Bowl
Oh,
guarantee.
yeah, it's like Bigfoot.
Right? It
Yes,
is. It's
absolutely.
a Bigfoot. It's out there.
But what about that play he drew up in the dirt?
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. He's mythical. He's above anybody who's playing this game on a human level right now.
He is.
So I'm buying in because I did witness this. The greatest playoff game of Aaron Rodgers' playoff career happened in this building back in that 2010 run to the Super Bowl, and he blew Matt Ryan off the field. He had a QBR as his best ever in the playoffs of 96, and you look at these numbers, he went 31 of 36 for 366 that day.
Who was his receiving
3
core?
touchdowns and no interceptions. It didn't matter. He threw it to himself. Didn't he? He threw it and caught it?
He
Ray
had
McDonald.
Yes.
Okay, all
And
right.
they ran circles around him.
Okay, they did. And
Yes.
Matt Ryan came all apart in that game and had 2 picks and lost
One
a
was a
fumble.
pick six. Yep.
It was a pick 6. And the final score was 48-21. And I'm not saying that team and this team has anything in common, but Aaron Rodgers got to feel pretty good in this building. Pretty good, right?
Controlled environment.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks that
All
throw
right.
the ball as much as
Okay.
they do, they love it.
And I know everybody's beat up, and I think Jordy might try to play, but I don't know how long he could last. Maybe one lick and he's gone, but whatever. I still say because he's historically great, this point spread ought to be pick 'em. He just eliminated the #1 seed at Jerry World. That's pretty great. I didn't think it could happen. Of course, it took 2 ugly, sorry-looking field goals,
and I knew it was going to
56
happen.
and 51.
Sometimes Vegas puts the point spread at a number that people are more enticed
Sure.
to bet. So it's not a true indicator of what they think the difference in the team is. It's how can we fish these fools to bet on the game
Yeah.
and take
So
Green Bay
So the Vegas
and
lines
take
are
the
about
point.
betting?
Oh yeah, it's,
Cowboy Nation can jump on that bandwagon pretty hard,
Yeah.
so they're trying to entice. I'll give you
Cowboys
that.
fans are so hurt that they're also represent Aaron Rodgers, the PR for Aaron Rodgers and everything now
Yeah,
too.
but of course it took to get him off the hook in Dallas or at Jerry World, it took a 56-yard field goal and a 51-yarder that took the hand of God to move back into the left upright.
What about the throw?
Well, it was a nice pitch and catch. It was wide open. They blew it. It's against a prevent defense with 6 DBs completely back between the Dallas 15 and 30 yard. What are you doing? Why don't you cover somebody, Byron Jones? You're just going to let him run uncontested
If you saw the
to
man
the
open his
sideline?
hip and
Yeah.
like he was going to throw the ball to the middle, you saw it.
He was doing a poor man's Chris Carter on the sideline. It was a poor man's Chris Carter.
Man.
Little toe tap.
I'm gonna tell you that was really nice. Skip. That was a good catch. That was a good throw. That everything I
Wide
know.
open, all the way home. Wide open.
I understand.
Clear throwing lane right up the sideline. Nobody covered him.
Skip.
There's a good chance you're gonna get over this by September. There's a good chance by September you'll be over it.
The field goals are what I can't get over.
He
The
drew it
act
up in
of
the
God.
dirt.
Do that again with the hand
The
of God.
hand of God, he moved it back in
Yeah.
because he doesn't like Jerry. Jerry made a deal with the devil for his 3 Super Bowls.
Think about CC.
God is upset at the Cowboys because they put the roof on.
Yeah,
him.
he
they
can't
put the
see,
roof on, he
watch
can't
now.
watch.
Yeah, and they put a
Yeah.
screen.
They put it on because he got tired of watching them sorry teams lose every Sunday.
No mercy.
The Warriors blew out the Thunder last night in Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook's second matchup this year. Durant had a season-high 40 points and was 13 of 16 from the field. Russell Westbrook had a triple-double in the loss. We're joined by FS1 basketball analyst Jim Jackson. Welcome, Jim.
What's up, gentlemen?
What's up, Jack?
Got it?
Did Durant make a statement last night?
He did, and the reason why I say that is because it's almost like that first relationship when you were madly in love and you break up. That's the hardest one to get over. I've been there, when I was in Dallas, that was my first team and spent 5+ years there. And when I got traded, it was always, when we played the Mavericks, it was something special. Now, the further I got away from it, it dissipated a little bit more, but I always wanted to play well against the Mavericks. That was my first team. And I think it's the same thing with Durant, is that the further he gets away from it, the feelings are going to change a little bit more, dissipate a little bit.
When you left Dallas, it wasn't by your choice, right?
Well, it wasn't, but the feeling of my first place, where my heart was at,
I got it.
was there.
You kind of wanted to get even, right?
Oh, yeah, wanted to get even.
Right.
Now, in Durant, his personality is a little bit different from that perspective. He doesn't want to get even with Oklahoma. okay? But at the same time, he sends a message in regards to how he plays, that it wasn't a bad decision. This is the reason why I'm leaving, because I wanted to win a championship. This gives me an opportunity. So his perspective is different, but, you know, the message I think he wanted to send more than anything was, this is who I am, this is what I wanted to do, and this is why I left.
Yep.
It was a statement. And I think the statement that he also sent is like, I'm the second best player in the NBA. It's not Steph Curry, even though I came and joined his team. He's a 2-time reigning MVP. The last time he was a unanimous MVP. I am the second best player in all of basketball. And like you said, anytime a player leaves a team and they play that team, no matter the sport, they'll always try to feature him. They will try to get him extra shots. They will throw you extra passes. They will make sure.
Teammates will do it too.
Absolutely.
Teammates will do it.
Yes, absolutely. And the 2 times they faced each other this year thus far, 39 in the first game, 40 in the second game. Win by 26 and win by 21. But the problem that the OKC Thunder is going to have is Russell. He's getting those triple doubles. Yeah, but he shot 8 of 23.
1 of 6 from 3.
But he also had a quadruple double
10 turnovers.
because he had 10 turnovers.
That won't work.
You can't win like that.
Okay, but he didn't have Steven Adams, so he's playing with one hand basically.
But Skip, he takes a lot of shots that are unnecessary. He needs to do a better job. Maybe
he's been doing that for like 8 years.
Well, that's what got Kevin Durant in the league.
Here's the thing, I think, and I wanted to bring this perspective that I don't think anybody's talking about Russell Westbrook. Shannon, you know this by playing. With the freedom of being the man,
yes,
comes a certain burden, okay? A certain responsibility of leadership. My take on it is that since Russell, and even KD has been at OKC, there's been no accountability, okay? Phil Jackson, even with Michael, with Scotty, with Shaq, you know, even with Kobe, you were accountable for how you played.
Right.
I played for Jeff Van Gundy, okay, who had Steve Francis, made him accountable. Larry Brown with Allen Iverson. Pat Riley with Alonzo Mourning. Everybody was held accountable. Tim Duncan, Ginobili, and also Tony Parker are held accountable for their actions.
No doubt.
Even Steve Kerr took out Steph and said, you know, calm down on the turnover.
Yeah.
In Cleveland, it may not be the coach, but employee number 23 holds you accountable.
Right.
In OKC, he hasn't had a coach or management that has ever held him accountable.
Correct. Which is why Kevin Durant is now a Golden State
Exactly.
Warrior.
So now what happens is Russ can play like he wants without anything. So Russ intrinsically is not that leader that, you know, follow me and I'm gonna show you how to play.
Right.
He plays so hard, plays so aggressive. I love him to death. But then it's a flip side to that because you need somebody sometimes to save you from yourself as a player.
Right.
You know, and that's my perspective
Trust
on the
me,
Russell thing.
he's basically uncoachable. And I don't mean it in the worst way, but it's just he's a solo act.
Yeah.
He doesn't care what Billy Donovan thinks or Mo Cheeks thinks.
Because he doesn't respect them.
He doesn't respect him because he is the driving force. He's going to get it done. And it literally drove Kevin out of Oklahoma City. And I was 3 years ahead of this story. I kept saying, at first opportunity, Kevin is going to leave Russell, and everybody ridiculed me and said, that's absurd. No, it's not. And it just happened. But what does still offend me a little bit is you talk about making a statement. If he did make a statement last night, it was a little bit of an empty statement to me because Russell can't compete with this team now. It's Russell, it's like 1 on 5, and those 5 are really is 1 on 8 or 9, and they're really good. They're the most talented team in the league. Might not be the best team, but it's the most talented team. Yet in body language last night, Kevin was like he was the victim in all this. He was the wronged party in Oklahoma City. No, he was not. He just wanted out, and he got out, and I say, God bless you. Because you got what you wanted all along. You wanted to go to the best team that welcomed you in, that shares the ball, that will encourage you, especially against Oklahoma City, to get yours. He only needed 16 shots.
16 shots to get 40.
That's pretty great, efficient. Right? You want to talk about efficient. He wanted to play with a basketball team, and they play basketball. They do move the ball. When it's clicking and cooking, it is a joy to watch them play basketball the correct way, right?
Yep.
But don't tell me that this was Kobe telling Jerry Buss, get Shaq the hell out of here. I get him out of my life and my hair, because nobody wanted Kevin to leave Oklahoma City, and by Russell standards, he all but begged Kevin to stay. Even though he wanted to be the man, he also knew that he needed Kevin to be a force in the playoffs, right? And so don't tell me that Kevin was the wronged party here. And please don't tell me, as I heard on the broadcast last night, that when Kevin returns, February 11th to Oklahoma City, don't tell me they're going to give him a standing ovation.
no,
they are
they're
not.
No.
They're going to boo him every time he touches the ball, and that's their right, and that's what they should do. He left.
Skip, I don't know if we've ever seen something like this. Is that Russell, maybe Shaq and Kobe, when you got two guys that can legitimately average 30 points.
Yep.
And each of them want to be top dog. But you can only have one top dog. And Russell was never going to concede to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant says, I'm the MVP.
And remember, Russell gets to bring the ball up every time. So he gets to make the first decision. Me or you, I get to choose that it's me this time, right?
Well, here's the thing, too. I think where it took that dynamic shift is when KD got hurt and Russell had to carry the team. See, he's an alpha male.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant is not.
No.
His personality eventually was going to take over. But that opportunity when Kevin Durant was out allowed him an easier path to get there. Now, again, I'm going to go back to organization. I played with that. I understand that.
You came in with...
Come on, I came in with... When you don't have accountability, things are going to happen.
Tell them the 3 J's.
Oh, and the 3 J's.
Yeah.
And
Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd, Jamal Mashburn. Here's the thing. If we would have had Mark Cuban at the time, totally different dynamic. Right. I went through three owners in 5 years, okay? Right. So...
But you had 3 alphas, all 3...
But Jason wasn't an alpha from the perspective of communication. We knew Jason was going to eventually be the man. Yeah. Jamal wasn't an outward person. No, you know what I mean? But
he wanted to shoot the basket.
He wanted to shoot. But here's the thing. Allen Iverson, I played with Allen. As much as I love Allen, what happened, he fought Larry Brown. But Larry continued to hold him accountable. And when he had his Hall of Fame speech, who did he thank?
You got it.
But Russell hasn't. So when you say he can't play, maybe he's undisciplined, I think it has to be the right situation with the right coach that he respects.
Most great players that I've ever encountered or been around or seen, they want to be coached.
Yeah.
They want to be coached.
That's a good point.
And if you don't want to be coached, well, I don't know how you get better. All they ask is that you know what you're talking about and can get me to be better than what I already am.
You won't listen to Maurice Cheeks, who really knows the game and played the game at a high level at that position, then you'll listen to nobody. No. That's just me.
But he likes being the guy more than he likes winning championships.
Yeah.
So that's
what
it is. No mercy. Antonio Brown was an hour late to meet the media yesterday because he was getting a haircut, which he posted to Snapchat. Brown eventually got to the podium and apologized for showing Mike Tomlin's post-game speech. Chris Carter is still with us. This whole Antonio Brown situation have an impact on Sunday's game?
Well, I think it is going to have an impact. I'm not going to get into the prediction of who's going to win the game today, but I think tomorrow we'll get into that. And it's in the same family of Odell Beckham because it gives the excuse as far as the overall preparation, what a team, the inside inner dwellings of a team, how of the 53-man roster, how different guys can conduct themselves different ways. But really, this is about leadership and stardom. And a lot of times, we grant leadership based on their ability. We think their ability also is on the same level as their decision-making. But you can't grant leadership just because the guy is the best player on the team or because he's a star. It's a gradual thing, and I think Pittsburgh has done that in a couple instances. They did that with Ben, and Ben suffered some issues off the field. And I believe with Antonio Brown, that's what you're starting to see. And there's a reason. I'm just going to throw this out there. There's a reason why a kid from Miami would go to Central Michigan. All right? You fly over a lot of good football powerhouses coming from Miami. Him and T.Y. Hilton played on the same Little League youth team. And I'm not saying he's a bad guy. Actually, I like him. But he still has some things he needs to work out.
He was tiny at that point. Like he still is. But,
absolutely. Okay. But they took tiny guys at Miami. They took tiny guys at Florida, Florida State, Ohio State. But I'm just saying, when you start thinking about stuff, you got to go back to, Because now, I know Antonio. He likes to have a lot of fun. But there's difference in having a good time and throwing a party. And he has to realize that the Pittsburgh Steelers and what they're trying to do, and Mike Tomlin, given the spotlight that Mike Tomlin is under, because this is bigger than Antonio.
Yes.
And how he's handling things, he's just failing after failing. And at some point, you have to have some type of maturity as a leader of the team. And this leadership can't be granted just because he's a great receiver.
I don't think it'll have an impact on the game because the one thing I know about the Patriots is the standard is the standard. Whether they play in a preseason game, a regular season game, a playoff, or the Super Bowl, they play the way they play. They don't let what you do affect what they do. But it also shows me he still don't get the gravity of what he done. Because instead of after he did what he did Sunday night in the game, that should have been the last time he's on Snapchat or Facebook Live until the season is over. But instead, what did he do? He went on Snapchat and showed himself getting a haircut, and he showed up to his media obligation an hour late. So he still doesn't get it. He still's making it all about him. There lies the problem. Now we're starting to see he's nothing like Julio. He's nothing like AJ.
Nope.
But he's more like Odell. He's more like Dez because it's making it about him than us. I'm just so disappointed because I know when you drafted in the later rounds, you worked so hard. You just want to show that they made the right decision by giving you an opportunity to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was a 7th-round draft pick. I wanted to show that the Broncos made the right decision. But, Skip, at what point do you say, you know what? You putting the sanctity, because the locker room for any professional sports team, that's off limits to everybody unless you play.
Yes.
The coaches don't really come down there. We don't bring anybody else in there. Family come in there on Fridays but the locker room, that's our safe haven.
It is.
And for you to tweet, this is live. What if Coach Tomlin was cursing up a storm and talking about this and talking about that?
Man, all the other things that go on in the locker room. Guys playing cards, other things, all kinds of discussion.
I'm just so disappointed, and he still doesn't get it. Because Sunday, after he did this and he apologized, gave that half-hearted apology, what's he doing? He's back on Snapchat, tweeting, or whatever it is. What do they call it, Joy? Snapchat?
Snapchat?
Yeah.
He
posted a story.
the video.
He posted a video of the
Snapchat
story.
Live.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
it's
it wasn't
not.
live.
He
He
just posted a snap.
okay,
But
all right.
he posted what had just happened in the barber chair, which is at the facility.
It goes up immediately
Yeah.
once you record it. You can post it right
You
away.
know what that was?
Yeah, he had to get a haircut on Wednesday because the team in the AFC Championship, they have to leave on
Correct.
Friday, so he had to
Yes,
move up his haircut appointment.
Yeah.
Couldn't he have done the haircut appointment after the media availability?
Oh, with AB, though, his hair is really important, and it take a long time to cut that head.
And
He has a lot of different designs cut into
you know
his
what
head.
that was? That was one big middle finger to everybody. I'm still going to do this, and I'm going to make the media that dared to criticize me, especially the local media, I'm going to make them wait for a whole hour. I'm going to punish the media for daring to come at me about what I do on social media, which is my business. That's what that statement was to me. And I'm with you on everything you said about him, except for the impact. And I'm more with Chris on this. And if you remember that week of Odell goes to the boat, I told you it's going to have an impact. It splits the locker room quietly, and then it puts too much heat on Odell and the other receivers to try to live up when they've gone from Miami to Green Bay and they don't show up in Green Bay early on, and it took that whole team out of that game. So it had impact. This won't have that severe of an impact. It's not Odell goes to the boat, but listen, this is what I know about playoff football. You have to pull together. The team that wins it is always the most unified, all for one for all. Somehow it all comes together for whatever reason. The locker room gets like this, and you get on a roll, and everybody loves everybody, and you feel good. Even the guy you don't like across the locker room from you, you just somehow you make peace with it, and you just get on the same train to the Lombardi.
Yep.
And they're not on the same train because even this week they've been split on. Some of the guys supported Antonio the first day, and then Ben and the punters, kind of went off on him the next day or criticized him. And all of a sudden it doesn't feel right because you're not the Pittsburgh Steelers. What's Mike Tomlin's greatest strength? It's inspiring a football team to play at a higher level than the other team. And it's going to be hard because they're distracted by this in a crazy way that nobody saw because this guy, Antonio, he's become a solo act on a football team that has always been a team that I admired because that head coach made them a football team.
The Steelers have always been like that.
They have. They've always been that, and they took pride in being a football team. And all of a sudden, he's gone rogue, man. He went rogue in the locker room. I've never seen anything like this before. It can't help Pittsburgh. You can't tell me, now that this will inspire them to pull back in. I don't see it. There's some advantage here for the New England Patriots.
The difference is between Odell's situation and Antonio Brown's situation is that AB has Le'Veon Bell in his backfield. That's the difference.
Well, it helps. Yeah.
You know what he can go do. He can go get you 200 and make it very obsolete for Tom Brady, because if he gets 200, the likelihood of Tom getting enough opportunities to put that kind of point total on the board will be very limited.
Yeah.
The reason why I don't think it's gonna have the impact, because like I said, the Patriots will play the way the Patriots play, but I believe Antonio Brown, I think he has a little different makeup than what
he does.
Odell.
Well, this is the thing too. It's going to have a mark on the game because it left a mark on the organization.
Yes.
So, and that won't go away. So as people continue to look for things inside Pittsburgh's organization, specifically Mike Tomlin and the coaching staff and how they conduct themselves, let there be one unsportsmanlike penalty during let there be one illegal procedure on AB. Let there be one missed assignment. And guys, listen, typically, if there's smoke coming from the wood pile, typically something in the wood pile not clean. Okay, so you guys can think that, it was a video, and he was just a little bit late. But to me, the best way to look at future behavior is past behavior.
Absolutely.
So I believe that Pittsburgh has known about this and all these things have happened, and it's just now coming to light because they're in the biggest game of the season.
I think Mike Tomlin mentioned something about this moving forward, about the social media aspect, and he wasn't, he's like, AB, this has kind of been going on for an extended period of time. Look, you want to do your Snapchat or your Facebook Live on your time, but don't bring that stuff here.
But he also mentioned other players in the NFL that outwore they welcome. And I don't know if that's AB's future. I hope not. To me, that was a direct message.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So what was one of the most ugly, if not the ugliest, playoff loss in the Belichick tenure in Foxborough? This was a home loss to the rival New York Jets, 28-21, a divisional round game. And before it, Wes Welker dared to try to mock, remember?
Rex Ryan in the footsie, the toes.
Okay. And Belichick was not happy about it, so he punished Wes Welker by holding him out for just the first series. New England got off to a little bit of a shaky start, even though they led 3-0, and then it all started to unravel. And Mark Sanchez did a number on them, and Brady got sacked 5 times, but they just seemed out of whack. Now, that had a lot to do with Rex's defense that day, which was phenomenal. And they kept Brady off balance and off his spot, and he couldn't figure out where they were coming from. But still, it was another one of those times, it just shakes up the locker room. What?
Absolutely. And as Bill Parcells always says, it gives everyone in the locker room to make an excuse for why we lost. Just like the Giants after the game, everyone had a built-in excuse. And he said you have to eliminate those, especially when you're trying to play championship football.
Yeah, you say all the time you don't get these opportunities often. You need to take them.
This was not about giving the fans an in-depth look at what goes on in the locker room. No. This was about you were getting paid, and the more you do something live or something of that nature, probably the greater the reward is financially. So, AB, you need to, okay.
Joy says she's going to be late tomorrow getting her hair done again.
I am never late. I am never late. I am never late.
She be on Snapchat.
Not if it was the playoffs. It's one of the things I do like about LeBron, that he shuts his social media down.
Oh, you mean to tell me you like something about LeBron?
I do. I love that about LeBron.
In clutch time,
it really shows leadership and focus. That he doesn't need that during playoff time.
That's what I'm talking
sometimes
about.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
That's why I like Bron, because he focused. I like a focused man.
No mercy. This is the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast, where we're delivering you an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the biggest topics of the day's show. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, like us on Facebook at Undisputed on FS1, follow on Twitter at Undisputed, and catch us at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, Monday through Friday on FS1. You can find us on channel 219 on DirecTV, 150 on Dish. Thanks so much for listening. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. We leave all the debates there for today. A reminder, you can catch Skip, Shannon, and I every day starting tomorrow on Sirius XM Channel 83. We'll see you all on Friday. Fox Sports 1 of 1.